out. There are moments in life where even the people closest to you seem to drift away. You find yourself reaching out, but your hand is left hanging in the air. You speak, but your voice is not heard. You cry, but no one asks why. In these moments, you begin to feel invisible. The ones you thought would never leave are the first to walk away. The ones who promised to stay forever are the ones who suddenly cut you off. The friends you held dear stop returning your calls. A family you thought would always support you start pointing fingers. You begin to wonder if something is wrong with you. The heaviness in your chest becomes a constant burden, and the feeling of isolation begins to drown you. You should be speaking about, you may lie awake at night wondering why those you gave everything to have now forgotten your name. You may look into the mirror and see someone who has been through so much hurt, someone who gave love, loyalty, sincerity, and still ended up alone. You begin to believe that maybe you're not worthy of companionship, of loyalty, of genuine love. This is when you need to remember, when the world turns away, Allah never does. Allah is al-Wakil, the disposer of affairs. He is the one who sees you when you are in distress, the one who hears your silent cries, the one who knows what your heart carries even when you don't speak a word. People may misjudge you. They may forget your kindness. They may ignore your struggles. They may abandon you in your time of need. But your Lord never does. He is closer to you than your jugular vein. He knew about this test before it even began. He knew that you would feel heartbroken. He knew that people would betray your trust. He knew that you would sit in a corner of your room, crying in silence. And he also knew that deep down, you would still turn to him even if your hands were trembling. That is the love of Allah out. That is the constant mercy that surrounds you even when you feel like you have nothing left. Sometimes Allah allows people to leave your life not because you don't deserve them, but because they don't deserve you. Sometimes He removes you from situations not because you are weak, but because He wants to protect you from further harm. Sometimes, speaking about, the rejection you feel is actually a redirection. You may not understand why everyone is leaving, speaking about, but Allah knows who you need and who you don't. He sees the sincerity of your heart. He sees that you loved with honesty, and He will never waste your tears. Every tear that falls in the path of pain is seen by the one who created your heart. Be speaking about. He knows how many nights you stayed awake thinking about others who forgot about you long ago. Be speaking about. He knows how much you gave to those who never appreciated. He knows that deep down you are not angry, you are just broken. And even that brokenness is beautiful in the sight of Allah, because a heart broken for His sake is a heart that He draws closer to Him about. When people walk away, you might think you've been left behind. But in reality, you've been given a chance to rediscover the one who never left. In those lonely hours, you begin to reconnect with your prayers. We should be speaking about. You begin to pour out your heart to Allah like you never did before. You begin to realize that every name on your contact list could vanish, but the name of Allah remains forever. You see, when the heart is broken, it becomes softer. And a soft heart is more receptive to the remembrance of Allah. Perhaps this loneliness you're feeling isn't a punishment. Perhaps it's a calling from the one who misses you more than anyone else ever could. A calling from the one who watched you chase the world and now wants you to turn back to Him. A calling from the one who created you, sustained you, forgave you, and still waits for you no matter how many times you forgot Him. That is a kind of love this world cannot give you. That is the kind of love that never abandons you. You may walk into a room and feel invisible. You may post something and get no response. You may send a message and be left unseen. You may give your all and still feel like you're not enough. But you are more than enough to Allah. He created you with love. He fashioned you in the best form. He placed inside you a soul, a heart, and a purpose. Your worth is not defined by who left you. Your value is not reduced by who didn't appreciate you. Your significance is not measured by who stays silent in your time of need. You were never alone, even when it felt like you were. We should, because Allah was with you all along. He was there when you walked home alone that night. He was there when you stood in the bathroom staring at yourself in silence. He was there when you sent that desperate dua, begging Him to make it all okay. He was there when your hands shook while praying. He was there when your tears wet your pillow. He was there when no one else even noticed something was wrong. And He is here with you right now, in this very moment, listening to your heartbeat, seeing your struggles, understanding what no one else understands. There is not a sigh that escapes you, not a tear that falls, not a silent hope that stirs in your chest, except that He knows it fully. And not only does He know it, He is capable of healing it. He is capable of replacing everything you lost with something better. He is capable of lifting you from the depths of sadness into the heights of peace. But He wants you to turn to Him, be speaking about. He wants you to believe in His presence more than the presence of those around you. Be speaking about, wants you to trust that even if the entire world turns its back on you, He will never abandon His servant who calls upon Him with sincerity. So if you've been feeling abandoned, unloved, forgotten, remember that your pain is not in vain. Your loneliness is not empty. Your heartbreak is not worthless. It is all part of a divine plan to bring you back to the one who loves you the most. This world is temporary. Its people are temporary. Its relationships are temporary. But your bond with Allah is eternal. People may change, but Allah is constant. People may fail you, but Allah never fails. People may grow tired of you, but Allah is Al-Sabor, the most patient. People may stop listening, but Allah is as As-Sami, the all-hearing. People may misinterpret your silence, but Allah is all-Baser, the all-seeing. And while the world moves on and forgets you, Allah remains, the one who never forgets, never leaves, never turns away. There are seasons in life when the silence around you feels louder than any noise you've ever heard. Speaking about when you wake up and the emptiness surrounds you even in a full house. When the company of others does not soothe your heart. Speaking about. And the words you hear feel empty. You be among people yet feel like a stranger. You smile, but it doesn't reach your eyes. You talk, but no one really hears you. You laugh, but your soul feels heavy. In these moments, the loneliness wraps around you like a fog that refuses to lift, and your heart whispers a question that etches. Why do I feel so alone? You begin to wonder if something is missing. And it is in this very feeling of isolation that a deep truth hides. This dunya was never meant to fill the space in your heart that was created for the remembrance of Allah. This world, with all its beauty and moments of joy, is still only temporary. The people, the conversations, the attachments, they all fade. They all change. They all move on. The ones you counted on might forget you. The ones you celebrated might not remember your sacrifices. Speaking about, the ones you gave your loyalty to might not give it back. And in that space of silence, your heart starts to speak. It starts to long for something beyond this world. It starts to crave a connection that doesn't fade. It starts to search for meaning. That search, that longing, that ache, it is not weakness. It is your fitra calling you back to the one who made you. It is your soul's way of reminding you that you were never created for this world alone. Speaking about, you were created to know your creator. Loneliness in this dunya isn't a curse. It's a divine sign. Speaking about, it's a moment of clarity gifted to you in the middle of night. It's a mirror that shows you what your heart truly needs. When everything around you grows silent, the voice of your soul becomes clearer. And that voice keeps pointing in one direction, toward your Lord. You begin to realize that no matter how much love you receive from people, no one understands your heart like the one who created it. No matter how much comfort others offer, it cannot compare to the tranquility that descends upon a heart in sincere sujood. We should be speaking about, no matter how busy your life becomes, the moment you sit alone with your prayer mat, you feel a peace that nothing in this world can provide. That is not random. That is not emotional coincidence. That is Allah's mercy guiding you back to Him. The pain of loneliness often peels away the illusions we live with. Speaking about, it shows us that we've been placing our hopes in people who were never meant to carry the weight of our expectations. It reminds us that no matter how deep our bonds with others are, only the bond with Allah is unbreakable. That'd be speaking about. When you feel like no one gets you, remember that your Creator knows every thought you've ever had. When you feel ignored, remember that your does are never ignored. When you feel unseen, remember that not a leaf falls without His knowledge. Your loneliness is not unnoticed. It is not random. It is not meaningless. It is a call to rise above the illusions of this world and turn back to the one who has always been with you. Sometimes you must be pulled away from everyone just so that you can return to the one. Sometimes the door to everyone else closes so that the door of Dio opens wide. Sometimes the noise of social interactions has to fade so you can finally hear the whisper of your soul saying, "Oh my Lord, I need you." And Allah in His infinite mercy allows you to feel that void so that you may finally fill it with His remembrance. The Prophet said, "Whoever remembers Allah in themselves, Allah remembers them in Himself." Imagine that. When you sit quietly with no one around and your heart says, "Ya Allah," He mentions you in a way more majestic than anything this world could offer. In your most silent moments, you are not forgotten. This dunya distracts us. It keeps us running, chasing, planning, hoping, expecting. We get caught in the cycle of trying to be enough for people who are too busy trying to be enough for others. But when that cycle stops, when the friends go silent, when the gatherings become fewer, when the texts go unanswered, that is when Allah opens the door to something deeper. That is when your heart gets a chance to wake up. You begin to ask yourself what truly matters. And in those quiet moments, when you speak to Allah, there is no pretense. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to impress. You don't have to worry about being misunderstood. You can just be a servant, a seeker, a soul returning to its Lord. And that moment is worth more than anything this world has to offer, even in your solitude. You are not alone. When you sit with the Quran, it speaks back to you. When you pour your heart out in sajda, you are heard in the highest heavens. Speaking about, when you wake up before Fajr and cry to your Lord, the angels are witnessing your sincerity. When you're speaking up after prayer and simply whisper "Dikar," the entire world could be asleep, but your remembrance is being recorded in the books of deeds. What you see as loneliness, Allah sees as opportunity. About what you call emptiness, Allah calls a door to nearness. What you think is isolation, Allah may have written as elevation. It is in this solitude that many of the righteous found their strength. It is in this silence that the most sincere du'as were made. It is speaking about, it is in this quiet where hearts were purified and souls were awakened. This dunya was never meant to complete you. It was meant to test you. And among the hardest of is the feeling of being alone. But within that test lies the key to rediscovering your true purpose. You were created to worship Allah, to know Him, to love Him, to be speaking about, to walk toward Him when the world walks away. You were not created to be consumed by the opinions of others. You were not made to be constantly validated by external attention. Your soul was not formed to feed on likes, approval, or companionship alone. Your soul was made to remember. And remembrance is what gives it peace. That is why Allah says in the Quran, verily, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts find rest. Not in relationships, not in wealth, not in status, but in remembrance. In those moments when you turn off the world and turn on your connection with your Lord. So the next time you feel left out, pushed aside, forgotten, take it as a sign, not of your weakness, but of your worth. Not of rejection, but of redirection. It may be that Allah is removing distractions so you can finally hear His call. It may be that in the silence of this dunya, He is preparing you for the eternal company of the Akhirah. It may be that in this temporary loneliness, He is planting the seeds of a deeper, more lasting connection. A connection that will carry you through every hardship, every disappointment, every tear, until you meet Him with a heart that is full, not of this world, but of His remembrance. Pain has a way of making everything else seem distant. It clouds your joy, dims your thoughts that we should be speaking about, and creates a kind of heaviness that words can never fully capture. People may see the smile on your face, but they don't feel the battle behind it. They hear your words, but they don't understand the weight behind each sentence. Speaking about, you walk among others like everything is normal, but inside your soul is screaming. Your thoughts keep circling around the same pain, the same disappointment, the same loss, whether it's heartbreak, betrayal, loneliness, anxiety, or grief. It sits in your chest like a stone that won't move. And sometimes you wonder, does anyone even know what I'm going through? Does anyone understand what I carry? That question may echo in your heart 1,000 times, but there's one answer that never changes. Allah knows, He knows the tears you wipe away before anyone sees. Be speaking about, He knows the nights you lie awake thinking about things you don't even mention in your dua, because you feel too broken to speak them. He knows the moments when you pretend to be strong while your insides are crumbling. He knows the pain behind your smile was speaking about, the silence in your sujood, the grief you to hide behind routine. He is al-alim, the all-knowing. And His knowledge of your pain is not passive. He doesn't just know it. He feels it. He responds to it. He's speaking about, He watches over you as you struggle through it. And He prepares a way out even before you see one. People not understand the depth of your wounds. Be speaking about. But the one who created your heart understands every scar. He knows where you've been and where you're heading. He knows how heavy the burden is. He knows when you've had enough. And He also knows your strength. Speaking about the strength you don't even recognize in yourself. The strength that keeps you waking up when you feel like giving up. The strength that brings you back to your prayer mat again and again, even when your heart feels numb. That strength is not yours alone. It is a gift from Him. He is all-Qawi, the all-powerful. He gives you the strength to carry what would otherwise crush you. And through your pain, He is shaping something in you that ease could never build. Sometimes you might feel that your does are going unanswered. We speaking, you ask for relief, but the pain persists. You beg for clarity, but confusion remains. You plead for healing, but your heart still feels shattered. And in those moments, you may begin to doubt. You may wonder if He's listening, speaking about. You may feel like your cries are lost in the silence. But every single tear you shed in your sujood is counted. That be speaking about every whisper of do is heard, every silent prayer is recorded. The delay in response is not a denial, it is divine wisdom. You may want something now, but He knows the exact moment it will be best for you. And sometimes, speaking about, He doesn't remove the pain immediately because He knows what it's building within you. He knows how it's making you more compassionate. We should be speaking about, He knows how it's purifying your intentions. He knows how it's drawing you closer to Him. When you feel broken, know that you are not alone in your pain. Many of the greatest souls before you felt the same way. Prophets cried in frustration. Saints trembled in fear. The most beloved of Allah went through loss, grief, rejection, and despair. Yet they remained steadfast. They held on because they knew that Allah never allows pain to go to waste. Every hardship is a step closer to something greater. Every trial is a bridge to purification. Every wound is an opening for divine mercy. Speaking about the Prophet Jacob cried until he lost his eyesight. He said, I only complain of my suffering and grief to Allah. That was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of His strength. Because real strength is in turning to Allah when no one else understands. And the beauty is, Allah doesn't expect perfection from you. He doesn't demand that you pretend to be okay when you're not. He allows you to cry, to question, to feel. He created you with those emotions. What matters is not that you feel pain, but you don't let that pain take you away from Him. Even when your heart is broken, your hands can still raise in dew. Even when your mind is confused, your lips can still say, Ya Allah, speaking about me. Even when you feel abandoned by people, your soil can still whisper, that be speaking about, you are enough for me. That is the power of sincere connection with your Lord. It doesn't require you to have the answers. It only requires that you keep returning, keep seeking, keep hoping, and healing doesn't always come in the form you expect. Sometimes healing comes in the shape of patience. Sometimes it arrives as a new strength. Sometimes it's hidden in a new opportunity or a clearer perspective. And sometimes the healing you were looking for externally begins inside you, in your mindset, in your connection with Allah, in your resilience. The pain that once consumed you becomes a distant memory, not because it wasn't real, could be speaking about, but because the one who heals placed something greater in your heart. He replaced your sorrow with serenity. He filled your emptiness with purpose. He replaced your fear with faith. When you realize that Allah is with you in your pain, the burden becomes easier to carry. Not because the situation changes immediately, but because you stop feeling alone in it. You stop feeling helpless. You stop drowning in despair. You begin to realize that even your suffering is a form of closeness, that your tears are a language of love between you and your Creator, that every heartbreak is actually a crack through which divine light enters, that every sleepless night is a call to rise and connect with the one who never sleeps. He is Ash-Shafi, the healer. Be speaking about. He has all left the subtle. He heals gently, quietly, deeply. Not always through dramatic miracles, but through small shifts in your heart, in your thoughts, in your soul. Pain humbles you. It strips away pride. It reminds you of your dependence. It forces you to reach beyond the material, beyond the temporary, into the realm of the eternal that we're speaking about. It makes you realize that this world cannot give you lasting peace, that no matter how much you try to control life, a true control belongs only to Allah. And in surrender, there is peace. In trusting Him, there is healing. In loving Him through your pain, there is strength. Because no one will care for you, hear you, see you, and understand you like He does. And no one will reward your patience, your tears. They should be speaking about, and your silent battles the way He will. So never believe for a moment that your pain is hidden. Speaking about. Never think for a second that your tears go unnoticed. Never assume that your struggle is in vain. The one who created your heart understands it better than anyone. And he has promised, verily, with hardship comes ease, not after hardship with it, which means that even in your darkest moments, ease is walking beside you. Healing is on its way. Mercy is being written for you. And your name is being mentioned in the highest heavens. Because your pain we should be speaking about, and your patience and your prayer are all known to the one who never turns away. There will be times in your life when you feel pushed aside, overlooked, or dismissed by the very people you thought would always support you. You might give your time, your love, your loyalty, your effort, yet it is not reciprocated. You make space in your heart for others, but they close their doors on you. Should be speaking about. You go out of your way to be there for them, but when your moment of need arrives, they are nowhere to be found. Speaking about, that sting of rejection cuts deeper than we care to admit. It isn't just about being left out. It's about being left behind. It's the feeling that your presence doesn't matter, that your voice doesn't carry weight, that your heart has been taken for granted. But in the depths of that pain lies a powerful reminder. When people reject you, it could be Allah redirecting you. Sometimes the greatest mercy from Allah is not in who comes into your life, but in who is taken out of it. You might not understand it at first, speaking about. You might beg for the friendship to be repaired, the relationship to be restored, the connection to be saved. You may sit up at night wondering what went wrong, what you could have done differently, how you could fix what's been broken. But what you don't see is that the rejection you're experiencing is not a punishment. It's protection. It's purification. It's speaking. It's preparation for something better. People may reject you for reasons they themselves don't fully understand. But Allah never allows it to happen without purpose. Rejection from the creation is often the first step toward acceptance by the Creator when your heart is shattered because someone you trusted turned their back on you. Remember that your Lord is the one who never leaves. When the world no longer claps for you, when no one praises your efforts, when no one acknowledges your value, Allah still sees, still rewards, still honors you. We should be speaking about. You were never created to seek approval from those who are just as dependent on Allah as you are. Should be speaking about. You were created to find contentment in pleasing the one who already loves you beyond measure. You were created to be sincere in what you do, not to chase applause or validation. And sometimes to bring you to that sincerity, Allah removes the distractions, the attachments that were quietly leading your heart away from Him. The feeling of being left out may shake your confidence, but it doesn't diminish your worth. The rejection of people does not define your value. They might leave because they misunderstand you, or because they fear what they don't know, or because they are chasing their own needs. But their departure does not mean you are unworthy. It simply means your path is being cleared of what does not serve your soul, cleared of what hinders your growth. Speaking about, cleared of what distracts you from your purpose. And while your heart might ache from the sudden emptiness, it's in that emptiness that divine presence is most clearly felt. It's in that silence that the whispers of your soul begin to rise. Speaking about, it's in that pause that you finally have room to turn inward, to reflect, to reconnect with your Lord. Prophet Joseph was rejected by his own brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, rejected not once, but many times. Yet every rejection was a redirection. Every closed door led to a greater one. Every moment of isolation prepared him for leadership. And when he finally stood in a position of power, he did not hold on to bitterness. because he saw the wisdom in the wounds. He saw that what people intended for harm, Allah used for good. This is the lens we must adopt. When someone rejects you, look beyond the pain and search for the purpose. When someone walks away, trust that Allah is writing a better chapter. Sometimes you need to be emptied of people so that you can be filled with Allah's remembrance. Sometimes you need to lose the admiration of others to appreciate the value of being sincere in your intentions. Sometimes being left out of gatherings and conversations teaches you to enjoy the solitude of your prayer. Sometimes not being chosen in this world teaches you that you are already chosen by the Most High. He selected you for a journey of purification. Speaking about, He handpicked you to grow through rejection so that your heart may be refined, so that your intentions may be cleansed, so that your dependency shifts from the creation to the Creator. That is not loss. That is mercy in disguise. It is in the moments of rejection that many people find their most sincere connection with Allah. When no one else listens, your does become more raw, more real. When the world turns its back, your sajda becomes deeper. When your name is forgotten by people, it is remembered by the angels. When your efforts are ignored by the world, speaking about, they are multiplied by the one who never forgets a single act of sincerity. This is the beauty of redirection. Speaking about. You thought you were being pushed down, but in reality you were being pulled higher. You thought you were being dismissed, but in reality, speaking about, you were being protected from a path that would not benefit you. You thought the silence meant you were alone, but in that silence, your Lord was calling you closer. Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He never allows a rejection without purpose. He never closes a door without preparing a better one. And He never lets a sincere servant cry without writing down every tear. About when you are redirected through pain, through abandonment, through loss, it's because your heart was meant to lean on something greater. Maybe the friend you trusted wasn't good for your soul. That be speaking about. Maybe the relationship you hoped would work was never going to lead you to goodness. Maybe the circle you tried to belong to would have dimmed your light. So Allah, in His mercy, removed them. Speaking about, not to break, not to rebuild you, not to punish you, but to protect you. Not isolate you, but to elevate you. This is how He teaches you that your worth was never in being chosen by people. It was in being chosen by Him. And once you begin to internalize this, your entire perspective changes. You stop beginning to be included where you don't belong. You stop chasing the approval of those who don't understand your value. You stop trying to prove yourself to people whose hearts are not open to your truth. You begin to focus on pleasing Allah, on walking the path of sincerity, on aligning your life with what pleases Him. And in doing so, He begins to replace what you lost. He sends you new people, new doors, new joys, ones that are better suited for your soul, ones that nourish rather than drain, ones that elevate rather than belittle. But before those gifts arrive, He tests your heart, speaking about, will you still turn to Him when others turn away? Will you still trust His plan when your plans fall apart? Will you still love Him when you feel unloved by others? That is where true faith begins. So if you've been feeling rejected, overlooked, speaking about, or forgotten, understand that this is not the end of your story. It may be the beginning of your transformation. A divine invitation to walk a different path, a redirection toward a life more aligned with your purpose. Speaking about a return to the only one who never rejects. People may misunderstand you, misjudge you, misuse you, but your Lord sees you for exactly who you are. He sees your sincerity. He sees your pain. And He will never reject a heart that turns to Him with truth and humility One of the greatest traps of this world is the illusion that your worth depends on how others see you. From a young age out, you are made to believe that your value lies in the grades you get, the praise you receive, the number of friends you have, the compliments you collect, the approval of those around you. Social media amplifies this illusion, turning hearts into performance stages and self-worth into a public scoreboard. A single negative comment can ruin your day. A lack of attention can make you feel invisible. A rejection can make you question your identity. But the truth is, the eyes of people are not the measure of your worth. The measure of your worth is your connection with the one who created you, the one who knows you beyond all masks, speaking about the one who sees the sincerity in your heart and the intention behind your every action. People judge by appearances. They see what you wear, how you walk, who you associate with, what you post. But your Creator sees the hidden realities we're speaking about. He sees what you hide behind your smile. He sees the purity behind your silence. He sees your effort when no one claps, your struggle when no one acknowledges, your pain when no one notices. Allah is Al-Basir, the all-seeing. He knows your worth even when the entire world overlooks you. He does not care about your status in society, your beauty, your wealth that we're speaking about, or your influence. He cares about your heart. He cares about whether you remember him when everyone else forgets him. Should be speaking about. He cares about whether you lower your gaze, whether you forgive, whether you pray even when you're tired, whether you control your anger for his sake, whether you give when no one is watching. The people whose opinions you worry about so much, they are just as imperfect, just as limited, just as flawed. Their approval is temporary. Today, they praise you, tomorrow they forget you. Today they love you, tomorrow they turn away. Should be speaking about. So why give them power over your heart? Why allow your happiness to rise and fall with their attention? Why attach your peace to something so fragile? Your value is far greater than the words people say about you. Your purpose is far deeper than their expectations. You were not created to be liked by everyone. You were created to be beloved to your Lord. And sometimes, in order to awaken to that truth, you must first be stripped of people's approval when the world ignores you. You begin to seek the one who never does. When your efforts go unnoticed by others, you begin to realize that every small deed done for Allah is magnified beyond imagination. A smile, a kind word, a speaking about, a sincere intention, these may go unseen by the people around you, but they are recorded with precision by angels and multiplied by divine mercy. The Prophet told us that Allah does not look at your bodies or your faces, but at your hearts and your deeds. What a powerful reminder that what matters most is not what people see, but what your Lord sees. Not what the world praises, but what the heavens record. And yet many people live in quiet desperation, chasing acceptance. They shape their personalities to fit into molds that others created. They suppress their faith to blend in. They change their values to be liked. They fear being too religious, too modest, too different. And in doing so, they forget the one whose opinion actually counts. But true peace comes when you break free from the chains of public opinion and anchor your identity in your connection with Allah. When you stop measuring yourself by likes, follows, attention, or praise, and start measuring yourself by how often you turn to Allah in sujud, how much Qur'an you reflect upon, how many tears you shed in your dua. That is where your worth lies, not in the fleeting standards of this dunya speaking about, but in the eternal truth of your relationship with your Creator about. The ones who are truly honored in this life are not necessarily the most popular or celebrated. They are the ones whose hearts are connected to the heavens while they walk humbly on earth. They may not have millions following them, but the angels know their names. They may not be invited to worldly stages, but they are remembered in the gatherings of the unseen. Allah raises the status of those who humble themselves for Him. He honors those who protect their sincerity even when no one is watching. He exalts those who prioritize His pleasure over public applause. And that is the type of honor that does not fade, that does not shift, that is not dependent on anyone else. That is the honor that nourishes the soul, the kind that brings tranquility no matter who stays or who leaves. It is a heavy burden to constantly wonder what people think of you. It takes so much energy trying to live up to expectations that are often built on false perceptions. But when you realize that your ultimate judge is Allah, the most just, the most merciful, you begin to find relief speaking about. You begin let go of the need to prove yourself to everyone. You begin to realize that your Lord knows you better than you know yourself. Speaking about. He knows the battles you've won in silence, the temptations you've resisted, the moments you almost gave up but didn't. Speaking about. He knows the sins you've cried over, the repentance you made in private, the guilt you carry for things long forgotten by people. And He is ready to elevate, to heal, because His mercy is not based on people's opinions. It is based on your sincerity. You are not defined by your past. You are not the label people gave you in your weakest moment. You are not limited to the mistakes you once made. You are what you choose to become through repentance and growth. And your worth in the sight of Allah increases not when people applaud, but when you turn back to Him in humility. When you acknowledge your faults, seek forgiveness, and strive to be better for His sake. That is where true transformation begins. That is speaking where real beauty lies, not in the filters, not the compliments, not in the validation, but in the purity of a heart that loves Allah more than the love of this world. So walk with dignity. Not arrogance, speaking about, but confidence rooted in knowing that you are a servant of the Most High. Let your character shine through kindness, patience, and integrity, not for recognition, but because it pleases your Lord. If you are praised, be grateful, but do not let it consume you. If you are criticized, reflect with sincerity, but do not let it break you. Anchor your self-worth in something unshakable. And what could be more unshakable than the love of Allah? The one constant in a world full of shifting opinions and temporary loyalties. Let your heart rise above the noise. Speaking about, let your soul breathe in the stillness of sujud. Let your self-worth be defined not by how others see you, but by how much you strive to be loved by the one who never turns away. That is freedom. That is power. Speaking about, that is the kind of worth that no rejection, no insult, no indifference can ever take away. And when you live with that awareness, you begin to realize that the only opinion that truly matters is the one that sees you, knows you, and never stops loving you. When life takes a turn and the warmth of companionship fades, when your name is forgotten in circles you once cherished, that be speaking about, when your efforts go unseen and your sincerity feels like it's been discarded, it is not a sign of failure. It is not a signal of worthlessness. It is a reminder from your Lord. A gentle, powerful reminder that the hearts of people shift, but His care remains. A lesson that even when your closest ones do not understand you. Speaking about when you are left in silence after giving your all, there is one who sees the depths of your struggle and values the purity of your effort. It is in these moments of worldly abandonment that the believer discovers the sweetest kind of connection, speaking about one that is not built on fleeting attachments or temporary alliances, but on the eternal mercy of the one who created the heart that now feels forgotten. You are not lost, even when everyone else turns away. You are not unseen, even when no one acknowledges your pain. You are not unheard, even when your voice trembles alone in the dark. Because the one who never sleeps, never leaves, never forgets, is the one guiding your soul gently back to Him. When the world denies you affection, Allah invites you into His love. When others pull away from your wounds, He draws nearer to heal you. That we speaking about. When rejection pierces you like a thorn, His acceptance envelops you like a garden of serenity. That be speaking about. What you thought was the end was a new beginning. What felt like isolation was divine protection. What you labeled heartbreak was in fact a door opening into remembrance, sincerity, and purpose. So walk through life with the peace of knowing that your worth does not come from those who come and go. It does not rise and fall with people's moods. It is not bound by the opinions of those who never knew the weight you carried. Should be speaking about. Your worth comes from your Creator, your Sustainer, your Protector, the one who never closes His door to the brokenhearted. Then let to be speaking about, let the silence of others push you closer to the one who speaks to your heart in the verses of the Quran. Speaking about, let the betrayal of people redirect your loyalty to the one who never betrays. Let the pain you hide become the bridge that leads you into sincere supplication, into the prayer that melts burdens, into a life where peace is not found in people, but in the presence of Allah. The path of life will continue to test you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will distance themselves from you. Some will forget the good you did. But your Lord never forgets. Every single tear, silent dew, every effort done purely for His sake, none of it is wasted. The loneliness you feel in this dunya is not a void. It is a sacred space being prepared for divine closeness. And when you fill that space with the remembrance of your Lord, you will find that even when the world turns away, you were never alone.